Kravitz. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to an emergency podcast edition here on the HHH Racing Podcast for tomorrow's Wednesday Saratoga 132,000 plus pick six carryover, and we are here on a beautiful Tuesday night to talk about it. I'll bring on my co-host for this evening in just a moment. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. Thanks for joining us. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right hand side of the screen, notification bell on the top right, and smash that thumbs up button below the video player. That's the like button, and that'll bring like-minded players right here to the HHH Racing Podcast and increase our YouTube channel access. So please make sure you do that. We'd greatly appreciate it. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. You can follow us on X, which will be below my name tag, at HHH Racing Pod. We've had a bunch more followers recently on X or Twitter. We greatly appreciate that. The tip sheets have been rocking and rolling. If you're not familiar with our tip sheet, please check it out. Look below the video player in the description. Our Saturday only Power Pick tip sheets are available throughout the year. And this week we're going to have massive coverage of maybe the best card of the summer so far, the Whitney Stakes at Saratoga. So you're definitely going to want to check that out, plus other information throughout the country. You can find out more about our podcast on our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Well, the people have spoken. I put this out yesterday. I said, you want a pick six preview video? We got a ton of response on X. People said yes. So we are here, and who's also here to help us navigate through what I think is a pretty darn difficult pick six tomorrow, Wednesday at Saratoga, is one of the newest members of our family. He has been rocking it out on Weekend Warriors. He's also appeared on Saratoga Today in the mornings, and he'll be more of a co-host and possibly host in the future on some of our other shows. Let's bring him on right now, Mr. Chris Walsh from Florida. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, Howard. We got a pretty stellar crew here waiting for us. Katie, Steve, Bob, Steve, Katie again, Bob again, Wiz is with us. My buddy Wiz, Terry Frank, TV, Sylvain is here as well. And we're going to go through this pick six sequence tomorrow, which is kind of tricky, Howard.
I agree.
We'll get into that. And you've got a surprise at the end right here when we get here. I think you teased it earlier with that DQ at Del Mar that we were live on the air for, that kind of sank your ship because you had the winner, and
yeah,
you didn't.
Yeah, we are going to have a special guest on. It's going to be a taped episode, or not episode, a taped segment. I'll let people know later, but you do not want to go anywhere after we're done. It's actually going to be a two-part video, Chris. We're going to show half of it this evening with our special guest after the pick six. Then we're going to show the other half on Thursday. I don't know if you saw, I put it up today on YouTube. Do we have a guest back on our airwaves? Thursday is the one and only, the big A, Anthony Stabile, will be on. Can't wait to have him on for a big Whitney Day card preview. So I'm very excited to have Anthony Stabile on Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. You're definitely going to want to check that out. But Chris, we're here to talk about the pick six. Now, very quickly, since I know Pete and Paul are not here, I can actually talk about the weather and not get crapped on. It's very hot in northern New York, but it is sunny and dry. So the turf is going to be very firm on Wednesday. There should be no issues with the weather whatsoever. So I just want to mention that. There's really not much to add. Other than that, should we jump right in here, Chris?
We should just jump right in here. And Howard, I'm gonna lead you off here, and with this pick six starting at race 4 tomorrow at 2:58 p.m. Eastern time. You're either all about corruption or you're spreading deeply here.
Well, I have some inside intel, Chris, and you know why. So let's talk about it. And I tend to agree with you. Let me go ahead and take this banner off the screen because we got other banners I want to bring on, as you are very well aware. So let's just go over the particulars first, Chris. Pick 6 carryover starts in race 4. It's about 3 p.m., 2:58 local time on the East Coast. Starts with an allowance optional 100,000 claimer. It's on the inner turf. The rails are out slightly. I'm going to expect speed to be pretty good on Wednesday. It's just a gut feel, to be very
Mhm.
honest. This is a field of 7. And the minute I see this field, I see two things. First of all, I got a pretty heavy morning line favorite for Mark Cassie and Jose Ortiz in the number 6 Corruption at 7-5. I think a bunch of people are probably going to be singling who play this ticket. However, the Rail Horse is a horse I'm very fond of, Chris. And the reason why I'm fond of him is because I own a few percentages of this horse. The number
Yep.
1, Otello, for Miguel Clement, Dylan Davis, Adelphi Racing has about a big ownership piece of this, and I have a small ownership piece of Otello. But I can guarantee everyone listening and watching that I will be very fair. I'll be very transparent, like I always do. I'm sure some people are expecting me to pick Otello, but I'm not on network TV, Chris, so I can pick whoever the hell I want here.
That's right.
No obligation. I'm just going to give people the absolute truth. So here we go. There's our picks on the bottom of the screen to start the pick 6. I'm going 6, 4, 5. Sorry, Matt Cutaire and Delphi Racing. You're going 6, 7, 1.
Yep.
I want to say this though, Chris. Full disclosure. I'm going to put myself on screen because I do have an ownership piece of the number 1. This is, I think, 100. What is this purse? 100. This is a $120,000 purse. Okay. I can tell you, Chris, without getting into details, that if Otello wins this race, I'll be winning a lot more into my own pocket than I will be putting into this pick 6. So that does affect some of my decision, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm not going to bet him to win, most likely. I don't really need to. I'm going to use him in the pick 6 very defensively, but I have to be honest, I do not have him in my top 3. In saying that, Chris, I don't think he's completely impossible. Let's start off the favorite, number 6, Corruption for Cassie and Jose. I'll let you speak about this favorite.
Versatile. Can come from off, can run on the pace, pretty much can do what he wants. Dropping from the Grade 1 Manhattan at Saratoga back on the 8th. I think that was the whatever it was, the Belmont Carnival or whatever they called it back then.
Yeah.
And didn't run exactly great. Off, slow, kept on, blah blah blah. And now taking a huge drop to an allowance optional claim, and I'm guessing he's not in for a tag.
He's not.
And it's basically another listed stakes race for a lot of places that would run for 120K. Mark Cassie, Jose Ortiz, Mark on this is, he's a 15% trainer. But when you look at these guys in terms of where they're at 23% out of 156 tries. I feel like you're either signaling the 6 in the pick 6 or you're going deeper. And I am signaling here with the pick 6. And my total numbers on this race are 6, 7, and 1. Yeah, I've got Masterpiece, who's disappointed all of us many, many times, and I've got your 1 in third here. But that's kind of where I'm going in the first leg of the pick 6. And I'm sure you'll show our tickets later. I have a $144 pick 6 ticket, and I'm singling the 6 here in race number 4 at Saratoga.
Yeah, we'll discuss our pick 6 tickets at the end here. Corruption's the horse to beat. I got nothing to add. I know you see G3 and G1, but I think he's barely a graded stakes horse, to be honest. The Pan American was very slow pace at Gulfstream, which can be extremely speed favoring. Farbridge, who he almost beat, was coming off a long layoff, and that was just sort of a very preppy effort. So I know that's going to look really good in the PPs. I think it's a little bit misleading. Certainly ran well in the allowance race, but got away with murder up front. And then last time he wasn't great, but it was the Manhattan. So look, I think he just stalks off of Otello and probably goes by Otello at a certain point and probably holds off everyone else. I think he's a very likely winner, but I don't think he's a cinch, in my opinion. I think he's a little bit dressed up, Chris, but he's also fallen into a really good spot. I have no idea who's going to finish second, to be very honest. I've got like several horses if it's not this one. Summer Cause is the other Miguel Clement. Two back he ran really well in your neck of the woods, Tampa. We sort of got shuffled back, came around everyone. It was a fast time. Last time at Laurel was a very slow pace. Lost to Wolfie's Dynagos, who freaked, and it's very good. And sort of got stuck inside and was like checked and steadied. Chris, I think this horse can get the distance. This horse has a very, very long stride. He's very big. And I think the Clements are just starting to figure this one out. I also think this is a pretty aggressive spot. He certainly could have kept him at Colonial or somewhere else and decided to bring him up here. I think this 4 is a little bit sneaky. He's unexposed at the distance. And I think he does class up, maybe not with Corruption, but with everyone else. Hush of a Storm has not gone the distance, Chris, but, he's already 7. But, if he gets the distance, I suppose he can be a factor. I just don't think they're going to go very fast, but I certainly considered him. I'll talk about Attell in a minute. Masterpiece is 9. But you know what, Chris? He might be rounding into form. I'll let you talk. He's a 9-year-old that, like I said, I don't like that. Third start off the form cycle has plenty of figs that will fit. I just don't know if he's the same. I think with IRAD, he's going to be more like 7-2 or 3-1 and not 5-1.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you with Masterpiece. I mean, he could get there. You've got, Dutro training there. You never know what kind of magic he's going to come up with. I do hear your points on Summer Cause. I worry about the jockey and Rosario just taking back and trying to make that one run. Hush of a Storm is the Cox and Pratt horse, which, they're stretching out here off of 8.5. And if everybody can get that done, that would be Flavian. So I don't disagree with you there, but I'm still sticking to my guns with Corruption in the win spot for race 4.
Let me give people information about Attell, and then we're going to move on. He has turf breeding. In fact, so I saw Attell down at Windstar in the fall last year. Really cool. He was training great. This was only about a month or 2 after we meaning Adelphi, got access to him. He's a beautiful horse. He's not huge, but he's extremely athletic, and he can be aggressive. He can tug on the bit. I mean, Dylan's going here. I would be very surprised if Otello is not on the lead. And frankly, if I want him to win, I wouldn't mind him trying to open up a little bit on the far turn and just take your chances here. You look at the dam. Isabel Sings was a really nice turf horse, Chris, as you can see for Pletcher. I mean, this was a graded stakes horse. She could go all the way up to 1.1 miles. I don't know about beyond that as the dam, but look, she was a very nice stake horse. And you got Curlin, Sorry, they didn't want to do that. You got Curlin on the male side. That's your distance. So I've always wanted to see him on the turf. I'm not telling you that, Mac Uter doesn't take cues from me on what to do with this horse. We let Miguel and smarter people than me do that. But he does reach out. I'm fascinated to see what he did. I just wish it was a little bit of an easier spot. But he's already passed some conditions. So I would like him a lot more, Chris, if the main contender was not also someone who could be forward. And Corruption's not going to battle him, but Corruption looks like, Chris, he's going to sit a perfect spot, 2 or 3 off the lead, just sitting and waiting. And Corruption has certainly proved himself as of now to be a much better animal than Otello. So I'm just thinking Otello is just not going to be able to hang with Corruption like in mid-stretch. I could see Otello having the lead to like the top of the stretch or maybe even mid-stretch. And then I just, think others are going to be better. But it's one of those weird things, Chris, because, I'd love to see him win, right? But then that'd probably hurt my pick 6 ticket. I'm going to use him, but not strong. Have you ever had this situation, Chris, where you've had a piece of a horse and a big bet, and you have these mixed feelings? Or has that never really happened in your betting career?
Maybe 10, 15 years ago, back in the day when I was involved in that stuff. So, but not these days.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next race. Race 5 is a main claiming, but it's not exactly cheap. $100,000. It's basically a main special weight, but not exactly. 6 furlongs on the dirt, field of 8. The 4 is a first-time gelding. The Moorline favorite is the number 6, Fiddling Felix, for Abreu and Jose Ortiz. It looks like he might have a big day. Picks on the bottom of the screen. I'm going 5, 6, 4. Chris is going 265. Chris, you're going to go with Noguchi, 1 of 2 for Chad. For this one is for Irad. This is a horse that does have a start. Career Risk, the rail horse for Chad, is a first-time starter. What do you like about Noguchi? Peter Brandt and Spendthrift cost $300,000, Chris, and they're quote-unquote giving up on him only in his second start for $100K.
First of all, Howard, do you think anybody gets claimed here?
Great question. I think the 2 is possible because he costs $300. After that, I would probably say no. Maybe the 2.
I think Chad here at 25%, second time start here with Irad riding. Irad's been just, spot on. I think his agent's doing great work. He wants to win this meet. He if you read the DRF article today, he wants that Eclipse Award back that he gave up to Flavian last year. And I just think, he's a good solid one at this spot. I'm 265 here. The 6, Fiddling Phoenix, Irad's brother, horse ran great last out on the 17th of July, just beaten a half length at a 20K maiden claimer. I get they're stepping up here. I don't know if this is a step up or not because of it is a maiden claimer. It's just a higher tag. Abreu is 18% first off the claim. And then the 5, White Whale, who is over 7. I typically don't like these horses here like this, but it's first out at Saratoga. George Arnold seems fit to enter this horse here and probably well meant. And it's ran in a lot of, 120 maiden special weight, 110 maiden special weight, all maiden special weights, and now in this weird $100,000 maiden claiming race. So I am 265 here. I think I'm pretty wide here in the pick 6. I think I ended up with 4 horses here. So that's where I'm at with this one.
This race is tricky to me. I do have some information I want to share. Career Risk has not been working great, and actually Career Risk was working with a maiden 20 claimer, or say middle market. That name might sound familiar, and was awful this past weekend. So I don't like, and cost 220, and they're giving up in a first start. I know it's Klarovich. Maybe the one's going to stuff me in the locker. There's a lot of things I do not like about Career Risk. I'm probably not going to use him at all. Noguchi is interesting, but I've got him as a possible use, but I don't like that he's in for 100. The switching to dirt, it just seems weird to me. I don't know. The whole scenario seems a little bit strange. I agree with you completely with White Whale. I do not usually go for 7s, but the horse is working well. I know it's a Churchill, so that's a concern, but he's been rested up. And we talked about this Rusty Arnold, Chris. That name should sound familiar because he's the one that got Daisy Flyer home for myself and Patrick over the weekend. He could have kept this horse at Ellis. He decides to come here. This guy's not stupid. I know he's 0 for 7, but I think he's very logical. It's a very soft pick for me. I like the 5. I think Fiddly Phoenix, I would also use Felix. But to me, this is a step up, Chris. I mean, he's in for 5 times the sales price. So this maiden 100 is definitely more difficult than the maiden 20. That being said, Abreu is a very sharp guy. And you know what, Chris? He should set a very nice trip. The 7 is going to show speed also, but I don't like the 7, who's actually 0 for 8. The 4 is the fuzzy that I'm a little bit interested in. Fleeting Free. First time blinkers. I've talked about this Melanie Giddings, Sean Bridgman angle. He's been working very well. This is a total mystery horse, but the works are actually decent. Again, first time gelding, blinkers on. I mean, who do you really love in here? I don't really love anyone in here. I'm throwing the 4 in there also. This is a spread race to me, Chris. You already said that, so you agree to in the pick 6.
I'm 2, 5, 6, 7 here in this race, but I do get what you're saying with the 7. Many chances. I don't like to go that deep with these types of horses, but you have to take a stand somewhere. I just didn't like the 4 enough to include him on the ticket. I know it's a price, and whatnot. But I'm just not going without that Gulfstream race. And coming up here with Bridge Mahan and Giddings, they are currently 12%. So I'm sticking with my 2, 5, 6, 7 here.
Yeah, I hear you. I just feel like it's a race that you just really can't trust anyone. Looking right now, Char Philly is here. What's up, Char Philly? How are you? Tom Espinoza from San Francisco is here, Chris. Happy to have him. Let's see. Rob has the 4 on the lead. I'm assuming he's talking about the race we just discussed, which is interesting. I'd actually be totally okay with that, but I don't think he will. He's got White Whale as a possible gate to wire. That seems more reasonable to me. Let's see what else here. Yeah, Tom Espinoza's got the 4 and third. So there's a little bit of love with the 4. We'll see. Let's go on the next race. Now, this is let me put us on full screen. Chris, this is what makes this whole pick 6 really difficult to me, is race 6 for 2 reasons. Number one, it's a maiden 2-year-old turf sprint. So I'll leave it at that. But they have this as the third leg of the pick 6. I'm not here to criticize the racing secretary, but that makes it really tricky for bettors because
that's why they did it.
What's that, Chris?
That's why they did it, man. They do this on purpose.
Well, okay. I don't have to like it, though.
No.
The problem is we're not going to be able to see the board, ladies and gentlemen. And that is a problem. By the way, Chris Couples is here, expecting 6 singles. Okay, no problem, Chris. Chris just forgot the winner of race 6, the 2-year-old maiden turf sprint, and we'll be all good there. Sorry about my camera. Let's get to it. Now, I do have a lot of information, Chris, to share with people. They can take it for whatever it's worth. Let's look at the field. First of all, this is a $100,000 purse. Awesome. It is for fillies, 2-year-olds, a bunch of them are first-time starters on the turf. You see it's a field of 13, sorry. The MTOs, the 12 and 13 are not going to be running because the weather's going to be fine. What's interesting about this race, Chris, is the number 11 Keto Drink. I mean, if he's in the race, that changes everything to me because I think he's clearly the favorite in this race. He only gets in if there's a scratch. Chance of there being one scratch, I'd say it's usually pretty decent, but you never know. So we'll see. But Keto Drink is on the AE list, hoping there's a scratch at 2-1. Other than that, it's a completely wide open board. So let's just go ahead to our picks, and I'll give some information here as we go along. But we're doing definitely a little bit of a guessing game. I know the 11's on the AE list, but I'm going to go 11, 10, 2. Look at Chris. 4, 1, 9. I mean, we're throwing darts here at the dartboard. Chris, you're going to go with Snowface Princess for Pletcher and Irad, 6-1 morning line, the 4-horse.
Yeah, I mean they've been Pletcher's starting to heat up here with 2-year-olds, and that's not a surprise at the spot. He does this again. Irad also heating up here off of a muddy start at 5 furlongs on the turf, which was obviously just something just to get a race underneath the horse here. I think his breeding numbers go up here as he gets on the turf. And he got a decent post here. And if he can get out and just kind of follow them around, he could be one that explodes. The 1, Santina, Wesley Ward, Victor Espinoza. Victor Espinoza riding Saratoga for the first time ever. And that was because, he was vacationing there and he called Wesley, and Wesley's like, hey, I'll give you some good mounts and whatnot. And Wesley, obviously, in this spot, he's 29%, a first-time start out of 129 attempts. So, Victor is certainly capable of getting this done. Decent, really good work on the turf back in July. Maintenance work back on, about a week later, and should be ready to roll here. I'm 419. I'm only using the 1 and the 4 and the pick 6 due to your $150 limit that you limited me to on a ticket. But the 9 also getting Christopher Elliott, 2 good works. Last one was good work on the turf. Third out here, and we all know Elliott rides like a banshee. So I would add that one for sure.
Okay. I've got a lot of detailed information that I could talk an hour about this race, but I'm going to go very quickly, just in post position order. People can listen, take notes, agree, or it's not really agree or disagree. These are all facts I'm sharing. You want to take a guess, Chris? Wesley Ward, we know how good he is with sprinters, especially turf sprinters. He's had 16 first-time starters at Saratoga as babies on the turf in the last 5 years. Again, last 5 years, Wesley Ward, first-time starters on the turf at Saratoga, 16. How many do you think he has won with?
0.
That is correct. He has not won a turf sprinter with a first-time turf sprinter at Saratoga in 5 years. That's one reason I'm against him. The work on the 14th.
Howard, what does that mean?
It means he does great in Kentucky and not nearly as good at Saratoga.
That means he's due, buddy.
I'm sorry?
That means he's due.
What do you mean? Oh, due?
He's due.
Not with this horse. Not with this horse. I don't think so. The work on the 14th, Chris, I was actually there for. I was there in person with Patrick and his friend Ryan, and I watched it on replay just to refresh my memory. It was okay. It was a B workout. I wasn't blown away with it. I don't like this one at all. I could be wrong. I'm just giving people facts and then my own little opinions. The number 2, Mackinac. Have you ever been to Mackinac Island, Chris? One of my favorite places in the U.S. It's right by the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. Fantastic fudge in Mackinac Island. Have you ever been there?
I believe that they call that South Canada.
I'll tell you what, it's a really cool place. I highly recommend people check it out.
The answer is no, Howard. I have not been to Mackinac.
Okay, well, next time you're in Michigan or Midwest, think about it. Rusty Arnold, you ready for this? He has not had a Saratoga first-time starter on the turf as a 2-year-old since 2021. However, he is 13% on the win end with this kind of horse, 39% in the money. Again, there's no reason for him to send him up here if she can't run. I'm actually a little bit interested in her and the dam, Valencia. Look at this. Major speed for the dam. The turf, I'm not sure about. I think the 2 is a bit interesting with Saez. I don't have information on everyone, so I'm going to be quick. Blanchette, great name. By the way, Andy Serling's top pick tomorrow for the Wednesday Pick 6. Motion's 11% overall, first-time starters on the turf sprinting. Not horrible. 1 for 12 at Saratoga. The dam, by the way, has dropped 3 horses, actually more than 3, but 2 of them have won. Pre-precocious dam, not a huge fan of motion in this situation. Let me just go down a little bit more here. I mean, again, the 10 who I have in second, Sharp Mindset, Student Body, the dam, was fast. I mean, really fast. Very fast dam. Student Body, including was staked on the turf. This is Joe Sharp with Jose Ortiz. I don't love the outside post. I have a feeling this one's going to be very live. We're not going to know really until the race because we're not going to see the board. Sharp Mindset, my second choice. And then Keto Drink, if she gets in, she got off slow last time with Junior Chris and made a big wide sweeping move, losing to Cy-Fair. If you don't know who Cy-Fair has been the most impressive sprinter on the turf as a 2-year-old this meet. So there's all the information. It's a guessing game. We're very different, Chris and myself. Hopefully one of us will be right. And that race, again, I think makes this Pick 6 that much more difficult than a normal Pick 6. Let's go ahead to the next race, Chris. Next race.
Quickly. Yep. We've talked about Rusty Arnold a lot, and I mentioned this during the I think either the Saturday or Sunday. What is the Rusty Arnold cocktail? It just feels like something you go into a bar and order a Rusty Arnold. What is that?
I don't know. I'm not a hard liquor guy, so maybe there's a Rusty Nail. Isn't that a drink?
There is a Rusty Nail, but I just don't know what it is. Maybe the people in the chat can figure that out here in the next few minutes. We'll talk about that a bit later, but let's move on to race number 7 at Saratoga.
Hold on a second. Hold on. We got some love from Mackinac Island from Dare Caldera Piedmont. Love Mackinac Island. Going there. Oh, wow. Dare, make sure you get some fudge, man. I know you know. Unbelievable. And look at Tom Espinoza. The mother is going to Tom's mother. There you go in October. Beautiful. Really cool place. Very unique. Very cool. Okay. Sorry, Chris.
One day I'll get there.
should.
Not on my top 10 bucket list places to go, but
All right.
maybe one day I'll find myself in a layover there. But Howard, I'm going with War Officer here on the win end in this.
Can I give the condition first? What? We got a train to catch or something, or what?
No. I'm just
All right,
I'm diving into it, man.
Just kidding, Chris. Let me give the condition, if I may. Starter optional 40 claimer, inner turf. They're going a mile in 3/8. This is another race that's long distance. Field of 9. There are a bunch of MTOs that won't be in. The morning line favors number 1 Brigade Commander, who won nicely last time for Ray Handel and Manny Franco. I'm going 2-1-6. Chris is going 7-1-6. So we are somewhat similar. You're only the war officer. Pletcher Saez 7-2. Hit it, my friend.
Yeah, War Officer again. Pletcher Saez here. I feel like this horse has ran pretty well on the last two, and getting on the inner and going longer, I think should be an advantage for that horse. I expect him to be a little bit more forwardly placed if they look at the PPs and understand how the turf course, that inner turf course works. And then Brigade Commander for Ray Handel and Manny Franco, just sitting right off there and pouncing and going. I get they're going 11 furlongs now after that, 8.5 out, but I think this horse can improve based on the breeding. My third pick here that I'm not using in the pick six, which will probably burn me, is the Clement horse. Again, a third off for Miguel, just sitting right off them and, hopefully to get a better trip here this time than it got last time.
Yep. And here's Brigade Commander. They were in the same race, by the way, and the 1 beat the 6 fairly handily, but I have some reason why the 6 might turn the tables, even though I do have the 1 in second on my picks. The 1 can win. I don't love 2 for 20. Now he's going to win again. I just, there's no reason for me to pick against him other than the fact that he's 2 for 20. And number 2, I'm not sure he wants the distance. I mean, we don't know. There's a lot of horses that are going this far. We really don't know. And by the numbers, Chris, he's really not that much better than many others. This is a guess. I will admit this is a bit of a stab. Salted caramel. Is that a drink, by the way? Is that a drink? A salted caramel?
Maybe that's the Rusty Arnold.
I don't know. Carrie Brian, Chris, very sharp young lady, very sharp trainer, a jumps trainer. She's a distance trainer. So when people see, it's Michael Maker off, Carrie Brian is very good. She's not going to claim a horse that she doesn't think can get distance. I realize there's a lot to ask here, but if she can get distance, or he can get distance, he fits. And not only that, Carrie Brian puts Flavian on this horse. The numbers fit, Chris. The numbers I have, this 2 is not that far off. It's a guess, but it's a gut feel. And I just want to go with a fresh face here in a race that just, I don't know. It's a lot of horses that just keep doing the same damn thing. The other one I'll mention is Cognoscente. Chris, I'm 100% guaranteed that this horse wants longer. This is a huge striding horse. The Brigade Commander race, Chris, I know that he lost the Brigade Commander, but he was coming on late. The gallop out was unbelievable. I think this horse wants to go long for sure. So I think 1 and 6, the logicals. I'm going to throw the 2 in there, the Carrie Brian horse. The 7 can win. I'm going to use War Officer defensively. This is another tricky race. There's others we didn't even talk about, Chris. The 5 can win. I mean, look, we don't have, we're not a Brinks truck here, but I mean, you could go 6 or 7 deep in that race easily.
I don't think the 2 is a claim, Howard. I think that's a move.
Did I say a claim? I don't know if I said claimed. I'm sorry, you're right. It's just a new. You're right. Not a claim, just a new acquisition.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
okay.
For whatever reason, going from Baker to Carey, first time with the horse.
Interesting.
9% out of 61. So, but yeah, you're right, Howard. You have to make decisions here, right? And you want to play a $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 pick six ticket, then you can go a lot of horses here for sure. But I'm 1-7 on the pick six.
Okay.
And I'll have something working with the 6 in other wagers.
Jeff Amster, by the way, Jeff, great job on the BCBC free horse player tournament. I saw Jeff's name. There was like 1,400 people in it because it was free. Jeff was in like the top 10 or 15 for a while. I know it didn't work out for you, Jeff, at the end on Sunday, but congrats on your little run. Did I drive across Mackinac Bridge? I've heard stories that some people freak out when they see it. No, Jeff, actually, I've been to Mackinac Island mainly as a youth. When I went to overnight camp in northern Michigan, and every year we would, our cabin or the whole camp would actually take a trip there for actually just for the day. It was a day trip. So I took the ferry, Jeff Hamster, which could be a little bit rocky over those waters of Lake Michigan. But
Howard,
anyway.
I'm going to date myself here a bit, but I feel like Mackinac Bridge was mentioned in a Harry Chapin song at one point in time.
I wouldn't know, but sure.
Yeah.
I sounds like it.
Yeah. Could be.
Oh, so Carrie Brian used to train the horse? Did I miss that? Hold on a second. That's a host fail if I missed that. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Carrie Brian Carrie did actually train the horse for 2 starts. Okay, fair enough. That doesn't really
it's
change
something
my
with the
opinion.
ownership there
Yep.
between those trainers. So.
Yep. Thank you, Jeff. Do appreciate that. All right, let's move on here. Next race, the Johnstone Stakes. Nice race here.
Another easy one.
An easy one? Okay. Salty.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Oh, 7 furlongs, fillies and mares, New York breds. There's some very classy New York breds in this race. Field of 11. Morning favors the number 8, Sterling Silver for Mott and Alvarado, who last time I checked, that's a pretty darn good combination, Mr. Walsh. Let's see if we're going to go with that horse. Well, I am. You are not. You're with the other, I would say, logical one. I'm going 8. There we go. I'm going 8-2-5. You're going 5-8-2. So in this, we somewhat agree here. Going with the first 3, you're going to go with a horse that I've chased a lot. And I have to say lately, not with as much success as I would hope. The number 5, My Main Squeeze, Maker and Saez, 3-1. She's been facing some very tough horses in open company. And now I would safely say this is a drop down back to New York breds, ungraded. She's very logical if she runs her race 3-1.
Yeah, this one is rough, man. You got a deep field here. There are a lot of horses that can win. This is that Stallion Stakes, Howard, where they combined like the 6.5 furlong race with the mile one and decided they were going to consolidate down to 1 and go 7. So that's why I think you have a lot of horses that are entered here and a lot of different opportunities for those to win. I ended up going, as I kill somebody that's trying to call me right now, I ended up going with the 5, 8, and 2 here. I'm using 3 horses in the last 2 legs of the pick 6. 5, 8, and 2.
Is there anything particular?
To give a look at Howard as well. That would be my long shot play. Just missed by 3/4. By like real close last out in a 75,000 K allowance race. But Pratt hops on that one, and it could be a bit of a price, but I'm expecting it'll get bet down from its 8-1 morning line.
Was that who? What? I didn't catch the horse you were just talking about. I'm sorry. Are you talking about the 7?
5, 8, and 2.
Okay, but you were talking about Cupid's Heart just now with the long shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my feeling on Main Squeeze, Chris. I like her. She can obviously win. She's the second most likely winner. Okay. I didn't like her 2 back. I know it was a stake race, but she got a really good trip and I guess she didn't want to go a mile. I don't know. I didn't love it. And then last time she had 0 excuses and she was awful. Now, again, people are going to say it's a grade 2, but she did well at Churchill before. She won the Dogwood last year, winning by 5. She on Derby Day, where it's in the test. No, sorry, Derby Day and the 8 bells. She upset the field at 7-1. So she had loved Churchill in the past, and she just ran awful. I don't know what's going on with her. Maybe she's just going to win by class, but I'm a little bit suspicious of her in this race. Again, I could be totally wrong. I just don't love the direction that she's going. That's my main thing there. to me, the horse to clearly beat here is Sterling Silver. By my number, she's the horse to beat. She's faced open company just like My Main Squeeze. I don't think she's a mile horse. I don't think she's a mile and eighth horse. I think 7 furlongs is perfect for her. It's Junior and Mott. She's been working well. They've been pointing to this race. I don't think she's going backwards like I feel a little bit with My Main Squeeze. I might single Sterling Silver in general. I'm not sure exactly what I'm due tomorrow, but I really like this horse a lot. I know she's got to come from behind a little bit, but there's definitely pace in this race, Chris. Between the 1 Majestic Return, who's got to go. Actually the 4 is not impossible either. By the way, Caldwell loves goal. But the 6 is definitely going with Wesley Ward. The 1's going to go. What is this 9 going to do? Burn takes charge. I mean, she's got to go. It just feels like there's going to be enough speed to set it up for the 8. My sneaky play would be the number 2 Dolomite for Chad and Franco. This horse is in really good form, Chris, and has been beating up on open company horses, including Cupid's Heart, who actually thought ran well last time against Dolomite. That's the 7. But I think Dolomite is not impossible either. I'll just finish with Cupid's Heart, who finished second to Dolomite and got sort of a weird trip. I almost put Cupid's Heart in the money here, Chris. I'm going to try to use her one way or another. Maybe I won't use her in the pick 6, Chris, but I might use her underneath. I think Cupid's Heart, the 7, is actually a little bit sneaky here, especially if the race falls apart. But anyway, we're going with the logical choices, the 8 and the 5 in
we're
general.
on the same page.
Yep. Let's go to last race, and then we'll bring on our special guest to talk about a very interesting disqualification Sunday at Del Mar. And again, that will be a taped interview. That'll be a 2-part segment coming up here in just a little bit. I'll explain more in just a minute. The closeout race, Chris, you know what it's going to be. It's going to be a main claimer on the turf, right?
Of course.
And it's going to be for New York breds too. Why not, right? It's 50,000 main claiming on the turf. Big field of 10 because there's a coupled entry. The MTOs will not be in this race. So it's a field of 10 with a coupled entry. The morning line favorite is for Tom Morley. So you know Maggie Wolfendale will be very excited about this race. And Johnny V on an 8-5 morning shot, the number 2, Kyla's Kaus. You would have to believe, Chris, there's going to be a lot of people singling this horse, especially people that are playing cheaper tickets because that horse is 8-5. The problem here, Chris, is I show our picks. I'm going, sorry, that's not, well, that is what I want. Sorry. I'm going 5-2-8. Chris is chalking on going 2-8-7. The problem I have with the 2 is where's she been, Chris?
She's been on the bench for a long ass time.
She's been in the Horsey Hospital or something. I had to say that cheekily. I don't know that she's actually had surgery, but obviously
Morley's 20% back, and he's 20% at this thing. And it's a field of 9, Howard, because the 1A is out.
Okay. Oh, it is?
Yeah.
How do we know that?
That's the also eligible.
No. No, it's not. No, it's not.
That's what I'm showing.
No, the 1A is not. No, the 1A is not an AE unless the past performance is wrong. Just let everyone know.
All right.
But go ahead.
Anyway.
I don't know where this horse has been, but this is a West Point thoroughbred owned horse, a New York bred, and just giving up for 50 off like a 10-month layoff. I know I'm using her, but I have the heebie-jeebies with this horse. I don't know what to expect.
I do too. But sometimes you just have to look at, like, they win this race, they get out here, 50K, they get claimed, and they move on, right? Like, sometimes those things happen. Good Mission is the other one I like. Actress, 0 for 11. I don't love it, but, you know, it seems like it could fit here in this spot. Probably trying to get a win at Saratoga for the owners. And then the 7, Miss Uproar, off of a couple of turf events in the last couple of races back on that Belmont or Belmont at Saratoga, whatever they wanted to call it. And just probably needs a better trip here for Ricardo Santana and Abreu. But not thrilled with the ending one here, which is usually the case.
Yeah.
Frog Hollow Summer for Martin and Leslie. I tried to like this horse, Howard. I looked at replays. I looked at a lot of stuff, and I just couldn't get there.
No, I mean, she can be quick, but she just doesn't last. I took a strong look at the 8. I almost had the 8 in my top 2. She's not a dirt horse. So all these dirt numbers, Chris, you can just ignore as far as I'm concerned. Right? She's dirtied up. She ran well last time, but visually that race just didn't do anything for me. I know she got a 63. I know she fits, but I don't know, man. She's already 4-year-old. It's almost August here. I don't love her. To me, it's the 2, and the other logical horse to me is Fifi La Fume, not Pepe La Pew. It'd be Fifi La Fume. I don't know if you remember this race, Chris, but this race that she was in, this Hangover Heaven. Remember, this is the one that like made the most ridiculous wide move and completely blew over the field. Remember that? But watch the one here on the inside. This is my 5. So, whoops, hold on. I'll bring it back a little bit. The winner's in this making this ridiculous huge move in the pink and yellow. But watch the one. You see she's setting here, Chris? She's really in tight. He's still waiting. He's still waiting. He hasn't even asked yet. Now he gets through on the inside here. This 5 is already gone. And I like this close. Again, this horse is not in the field. All these other knuckleheads are in the field. She comes up the rail. I thought it was a nice close considering, by the way, your 4, that frog horse, is the 2 in this spot right here. Barely beats that horse, but I thought Ira had to wait a little bit on the inside, Chris. I mean, I shouldn't say I think. He definitely had to wait, and he was steadied and uncomfortable. And it's Irad now instead of Ruben Silvera. That is a huge, massive jockey change. So I'm mainly going 2-5 and praying. There's a lot of others I don't like in that race. I figured the 2 is going to be sent, and Irad's going to get a much better trip than we saw from Ruben Silvera. Let's go with our pick 6 tickets.
Hold on real quick. Wiz is talking about the 9, Hattie Carroll. Wiz, don't see it there. 40.
I looked at the 9. I'm going to use the 9 very defensively on backup tickets. Go ahead. We'll show this horse.
I just don't see it. I mean, she's
got some turf breeding, Chris. She's got a little bit of turf breeding. That's why.
Turf breeding is good. Three good works.
Yeah. She might be quick.
This is the Pink Floyd, the Wall horse, dirty woman for me. Just not having it.
I don't know, but I see Wiz. I don't discount this horse. I have her on my backup ticket. I think Kendrick's going to massively send. She's the fuzzy. She hasn't been off since, January. These are just not very good horses. I hear you, Wiz. I'm not just saying that, Wiz. I hear you. I understand it. I don't think she's absolutely impossible in just a very low-class race that if it's not the 2, and I don't think it's going to be the 2, it could be a lot of people or a lot of horses. Let's go with our tickets.
Howard, before we get to the pick 6 ticket, one quick anecdote. Yesterday in Ocala, Florida, which is just about 90 miles north of me, the last living offspring of Secretariat died at 35.
Wow.
Maritime traveler.
Wow.
There are no Secretariat sired horses on the planet today.
Too bad. Well, thank you for that information. Secretary was special, and that's an interesting stat. But the long-lived Secretary, long-lived Saratoga. Look what I got here. Went to the store to prepare for my show tonight. Little Saratogas. They only had sparkling. I'm more of a flat. Are you a flat or a sparkling guy?
I'm a flat guy, but this is Florida. We don't have a lot of sparkling water here, man.
All right.
We're a working man state. We certainly don't have anything for Saratoga here.
What we do have is Chris's pick 6. I asked him for a sub 150, so he gave me 144. Appreciate that. Chris is going 6 with 2567, with 14, with 17, with 258, with 278. He has one single. That's the very first race. Corruption, $144 ticket. Chris, talk about 30 seconds about your thoughts here on the construction.
Like I said at the outset, you're either going with a single with a 6 or you're going wider. I got 4 in race number 5, and then a double and a double, and then a triple and a triple. Just hoping to get kind of lucky here, Howard. I'll take 5 out of 6 here with the carryover and whatnot. I'll at least get my money back with 5 out of 6. This isn't one that I want to do like a group ticket with and kind of spread because you never know what you're going to get, right? Like we talked about how some of these races are super tough. It's just one of these ones where I was able to work up a decent balance over the last couple days and, take a small stab at this. But
Sure.
You know, I enjoyed playing the pick six back in the when I lived in Southern California and played the Santa Anita, Hollywood Park, and Del Mar circuits. The $2 pick six was awesome, and we had one of the biggest $2 carryovers I think ever. With like 10, $11 million in the total pool at Hollywood Park with our friend Big Stopper calling those races that day, and the favorite won that race by like a nostril.
Oof. All right. Well, hopefully we'll have some better luck tomorrow, Wednesday at Saratoga. Here's my ticket. Of course, if Chris loses the first race, I'll just play the pick 5. And guess what, Chris? I did the same damn thing, man. I think corruption is one of the more likely winners of the sequence, and we don't care if it's the first race or the last race, Chris. You have to win. You have to win every race, and so I will play backup tickets. I'm not going to only have the 6. I'm not going to play this exact ticket on the screen either, but this is just sort of a cheaper, quote unquote, cheaper ticket. Again, if you have a low budget, you want to play with some friends. Don't play this pick 6 for anything less than 100. You're not going to hit it, ladies and gentlemen. You got to spend some money on a pick 6. It is a $1 bet. I'm going 6 with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with 10, 11. And if the 11 is not in, I suppose I would go 2, 10. I'd probably replace the 11 with the 2 in the 2-year-old maiden sprint race on my main ticket. Then I'm going 1, 2, 6 with 2, 8. I'm not going to single Sterling Silver. I'll throw in the number 2 on there. I'm drawing a blank on the name then in the second to last race. That's the Chad horse. And then I'm going 2, 5, the layoff horse who is logical if she's ready. And my 5 with Irad, a little bit of a price there. That's a $120 ticket. Again, 6 with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with 10, 11 with 1, 2, 6 with 2, 8 with 2, 5. Chris, I could single Sterling Silver and go 4 deep in the 2-year-old maiden race. That's probably what I'll end up doing, something like that. But we shall see. Now, Chris, you and I did a live show, Weekend Warriors, on Sunday, right?
Yep.
We saw, let's just say, a very interesting DQ. It was a very hot topic on X. It was a hot topic on my show. I sort of got screwed. A lot of people agree with me that the number 4.
You did get screwed.
A lot of people felt like the number
hard.
A lot of people felt like the number 4, Arrow the Great, should have stayed up on the lead. The number 3 was put up, Ultimate Gamble. And someone reached out to me, Chris, friend of the show, and said, Howard, I want to come on and talk about it. Well, that friend happens to be a gentleman who's been on the show before, who is a current licensed steward in Louisiana. And Chris also happens to be one of the best track announcers in the history of the game.
Yeah.
And that is Mr. Vic Stauffer.
A guy that I've been in his booth many times at Hollywood Park. Great friend of the game. Great guy.
Great guy.
Very affable, willing to talk to anybody. Just a super good dude. So,
no doubt.
Howard, go ahead and let's run this segment.
So Vic cannot be with us live tonight, but this is a 34-minute video. But what I'm going to do, Chris, because I don't want to go for 34 minutes, I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to show about 15, 16 minutes right now, ladies and gentlemen, with sound, of course, so we can hear it all. I'll take myself and Chris off the screen. And then part 2 of this segment with Vic Stauffer will be this Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, on Picks and Ponies. So part 2 will be this Thursday on Picks and Ponies. First half is here. We're talking about, this is a detailed look at the disqualification, race 2 Sunday at Del Mar. If you play Del Mar, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Again, this is about a 16-minute first half of the segment. Enjoy my conversation with Vic Stauffer about the disqualification this weekend at Del Mar. All right, we are now joined by the one and only Vic Stauffer, former track announcer, current licensed steward in Louisiana, and Vic's a good friend of mine. Vic, thanks for joining us. I know that you texted me the last few days, especially since Sunday, Del Mar, and you said, Howard, I think there's something that we should discuss, and that would be race 2 on Sunday at Del Mar. And I want to make this very clear to everyone. It was a pretty controversial DQ. If you watched Weekend Warriors here on the HHH Racing podcast, you know that I had a $50 win bet on the number 4, Arrow the Great. So, Vic, before we start, I just want full disclosure. I'm a little bit biased in this situation. I did have the winner that was taken down. The number 3 was Ultimate Gamble. Before we show the race and the head-on, Vic, I just want you to clarify with everything. You and I do not always agree on these decisions. In fact, the last time you were on, my friend, we completely disagreed on who was at fault in the Preakness, although there was no inquiry, but there was an incident. So, Vic, just tell the viewers and listeners that although we do agree on many things in horse racing, Stewart's decisions is not one of them.
Well, I can actually expand on that a little bit because we were just kind of talking, shooting the breeze this morning, and you prefaced that by saying, well, I'm sure that you disagree with me. And so there really won't, we could go around and around again. And in this particular case, for those people that think that the DQ was not a good DQ, we're on the same page with that, which is what I know that you think as well. And we can get into why, but I strongly believe that horse should not have been disqualified.
I do, and also full disclosure, Vic, you were involved in the Del Mar contest, but this race 2 on Sunday had zero effect on the contest. You have no bias in terms of this race at all either. Is that correct?
No, I could tell you a couple of stories about that. The first thing is that particular race, which was a 4-horse race. I was sitting with a buddy of mine who actually came with me from Hot Springs, Arkansas to play the contest. And I said, we're in good play, in a good spot in the contest. We'll get to the last race and try to make a bet there and win the contest. But we've got a little bit of funny money to mess around with. And he said, well, what about the second? And I said, well, I can tell you what I know about the second. I'm not so sure I know how to bet it, but I can tell you that the numbers 3 and 4 cannot win. They're not going to be anywhere near where they are. And as you'll see, number 2 is in this picture. Number 1 is due any time. That's Katona, who has obviously seen better days. So,
yes.
And then when we were sitting there, when the inquiry sign came up and the objection, and it took as long as it did, and it kept going on. And he had said to me, he said, all right, Mr. Stewart, what's going to happen? And I said, there is no way this horse is going to get disqualified. And he's going, well, they're taking a long time. I said, listen, I'm a paid professional. This horse is not going to get disqualified. And he said, well, why is it taking it so long? And I said, well, maybe there's an issue with being able to see the video in the steward's office. Maybe there's an issue with calling tote and they can make the numbers right or what. I don't know. I said, but don't worry. He ain't coming down. And about the 14th time I said that is when Larry came on and said, he's coming down.
So here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to show the pan shot. I'm going to show the head on. I also want to show a little bit of our Weekend Warriors show from last Sunday because you could hear the group of the panel, of which I was part of it, of course, was discussing it. So this is with sound. Here's the stretch. Arrow the Great is the 4 right here on the lead. And the number 3, Ultimate Gamble, is in the red. This is Kazushi Kimura. And right here is Ayuso on the 4. Let's just go ahead and watch. I'll leave ourselves on screen here. Let's go and just go ahead and watch the end of the race here, Vic, right now.
These are the 2 horses that I said had no chance.
Hold off all the challengers. Ultimate Gamble moves up alongside. Lure him in, still in with a shot, drifting out to the center of the racetrack. Ultimate Gamble, Arrow the Great, lure him in. The 3 of them streaking for the wire together. Who's it going to be? 3-way photo finish. Here's the wire. It was Arrow the Great who held them all off. Ultimate Gamble was second. Lure him in. Finish
so I'm
third.
going to show one more time, Vic, here real quick. I'm just going to back up and show one more time from the top.
Lure him in, still in with a shot, drifting out to the center of the racetrack. Ultimate Gamble, Arrow the Great, lure him in. The 3 of them streaking for the wire together. Who's it going to be? 3-way photo finish. Here's the wire. It was.
All right. So, and you know what's interesting? I was sort of into the bet, Vic. I didn't realize that Larry Colness actually said, as you heard in the call, that the 4 did drift into the middle of the track, which I found, I'm sure the steward had no effect on the stewards. I just found that to be a bit interesting. Now, I want to go ahead.
I think it's like, Howard, I think he was talking about the horse luring him in, the 2 drifting in the middle of the track.
Oh, was it? Okay. I thought he said that. Okay. That's okay. You could be right. Let's go ahead now to the pan. So this is the pan. This is the pan shot right here. Again, I don't think there's gonna be any sound here, but here's the pan.
That's
Again,
the head on.
sorry, it's the head on. Excuse me. Here's the head on. Here's the Arrow the Great Ultimate Gamble. Again, I don't want to get your reaction quite yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold all tickets. There is a steward's inquiry looking at the stretch run of this race concerning the first two finishers. In addition, there is an objection lodged by Kazushi Kimura, the rider of number 3 Ultimate Gamble,
All
who
right, so
finished
there it
second
is.
against the unofficial winner,
I'll show
number
you
4
one more
Arrow
time.
the Great, alleging interference in the stretch. Once again, there is a steward's inquiry looking at this stretch run concerning numbers 4 and 3. There's also an objection by the jockey.
Okay. So now we got other views, but I'm going to hold off on that. Now, the one other thing I want to do, Vic, before we start getting your comments here, because I think people might find this a little bit interesting and fun. Here's our show from the Weekend Warrior show from Sunday. And I want to first go, here's my reaction, Vic. Vic Soffer is not seeing this. Remember, I had a $50 5-0, not a big bet, but, hey, a few $100. A $50 win bet on Arrow the Great. Of course, I'm on the top right-hand side of the screen. And here was my reaction in real time in the stretch run. Let's go and watch this.
Into the stretch, and it is Arrow the Great.
Go on with him.
Off all the challengers. Ultimate Gamble moves up alongside. Lure him in, still in with a shot, drifting out to the center of the racetrack. Ultimate Gamble, Arrow the Great, lure him in. The three of them streaking for the wire together. Who's it going to be? Photo finish. Here's the wire. It was Arrow the Great who held them all off.
One for one.
And the horn sounds, Vic. And I figured I was good. Okay. Didn't even think about it. Let's go. Now, let me go back to the pan shot. I want you to start discussing some things that we saw there. Again, everyone's got to give me a second to get down to the right time. Vic, you were watching this in real time. In real time, did you have any thought that there'd be an inquiry, first of all?
You mean when they ran by me live? Because I was sitting at the 16th pole in the box.
Correct. When they ran by you.
No, I didn't. But from that angle and that perspective, a low pan shot, you're not going to, unless they just really crash into each other. And so I was watching this sitting in the box and thinking, that was a good cap. The 1 and 2, they're sending a search party for him, and 3 and 4 are 1-2 who had no chance. That was nice. Thank God I didn't bet very much. But no, I didn't think that there was I didn't see anything much that had happened from sitting in the box seat area.
So as a steward, Vic, walk us through what you're looking at right now as you video review this.
Well, the first thing that you're looking at with the pan shot here is you can sort of see that there may have been contact, but to be honest with you, the pan shot comes into play with regard to the final decision much later, after see what is going to be the most compelling shot by far, which is the head on. Because here you can't even really determine if there was a bump. And if in fact there was a bump, you definitely can't determine who was responsible. So the pan shot becomes not that important right now. However, after you've seen the head on, then the pan shot becomes much more applicable. And I'll tell you why when we get there.
Okay, well, here's the head on. So go ahead and talk about how the head on related to the pan shot.
With regard to the head on, what you're going to try to look, and we'll go back to a statement that we made when we were talking about the Preakness, and that is who initiated contact, and was there forcible contact enough to cost a horse an opportunity at a better placing? Those are the two things. One of the things that I think is interesting about this, and I think which kind of makes people sort of lose their minds sometime, is when horses are in particular lanes. And the next time you're going to see this head on, you're going to realize that the inside horse, Arrow the Great in black, is in a, let's call him the 2.5 path, and he ends up probably in the 4.5 to 5 path. So a lot of people who don't really understand the rules of racing think, wow, look at that. He came all the way out towards Ultimate Gamble. Well, I can tell you, he could get a party favor and blow it at the other jock or whatever. Until such time as you make contact, you can go wherever the hell you want to go. So the fact that he started and he was under a left-handed whip, which also is completely irrelevant to the viewing of this video for placings. So the fact that he started maybe in about the 2.5 path and then came out maybe to the 4 or 5 path is pretty irrelevant. So take it back now and show that again, Howard. So then we become, the next thing that we have to decide is, was there contact and who initiated the contact? And it's a little bit of an illusion that the inside horse was the sole aggressor and the sole initiator of contact, which happens right there. And the reason for that is, I want you that are watching this to watch this race, the head-on, and I want you to watch it twice, but this time I want you to only look, the first time you watch it, I want you to only look at the inside horse in black. The second time you watch it, I want you to only look at the outside horse in red. So watch the inside horse in black right now. Okay.
Definitely came over a little bit. I don't think anyone's questioning that.
Okay. Now I want you to go back, and I do not want you to watch the inside horse. I want you to watch strictly the outside horse. Okay. Now, so it is incumbent upon us to say, A, who initiated contact? B, did that contact cost the rival a better placing? And C, was there mutual contact, or was it all carried out by the inside horse?
And this
And
is
in
where
my estimation,
right.
it
Also,
wasn't all the inside horse, because what you're going to see when you see the head-on again, and if Howard,
Okay.
if you can pull that up,
sorry about that. Yep.
is just before number 4, Arrow the Great, makes contact, which I will term as what I'd like to call benign contact. I don't think it's as much contact as Cody's Wish made with National Treasure in the Breeders' Cup. Big ass fan smile. But let's talk about the contact that he's about to make, which is coming up right now. And right there, he's going to make some contact. Now, this is kind of interesting, because when you take it back again, you're going to see that even though it is very slight, the outside horse is actually going to lean in towards the inside horse, in my estimation. And now let's talk about the fact that these are situations that stewards, it is a subjective decision. And to say that the 2 stewards that voted to disqualify this horse are just categorically wrong flies in the face of the whole process, because they strongly believe that they were correct. And I've had 100 times when I've in the steward stand where I've had a disagreement and I was adamant about my position in that disagreement. The other 2 stewards outvoted me, and I would say, okay, that's why we're here. That's how the process works. Do I agree with you? No, but I respect the fact that you have the training and the expertise to lodge your opinion. This one went 2-1, and good on you. In this particular case, though, yes, the inside does come out, and I could and does initiate contact. Another interesting thing about this is, one of the things that we do is we look at the reaction of the horses. And that's actually kind of an interesting thing too, because you'll say, was the horse knocked off stride? Was he off balance? Did he lose momentum? Well, when you watch the head-on shot, the only horse that gets all messed up with his stride and gets a little bit off his center of gravity is the horse on the inside. Ultimate Gamble kind of acted like it never happened. So if you have that head on one more time, you'll see that Arrow the Great is the one that gets a little bit off balance when it happens.
Right. We're talking about the butt of the horse, basically, right? His rear end swerved out a little bit, similar to what happened in the Preakness. I know.
Yeah, and it's called tipping, when you get a little bit off balance.
Mm-hmm.
So right here, they come together. 3's coming in, 4's coming out. I would say that the 4 probably came out a little bit more. And if we had to apply a percentage of the contact, I'd say 60-40 inside. but it's certainly not 70-30, 80-20 in my estimation. And I'm saying that as an absolute, but I understand that it's not an absolute because the two other stewards disagreed.
Sure.
60 inside, 40 outside. The question now, though, is did that contact cost the outside horse an opportunity at a better placing? And there are two things that make me think that the answer is no. One is the contact was pretty benign. There wasn't really that. It wasn't like they went. Pew. What they did is they inside came out and then they went like that. They kind of brushed together and then they went on about your business. Now, remember I said that the pan shot becomes relevant?
Yes, sir.
Go back to that because
got it all set.
One of the things that you need to look at is when an incident happens, did the outside horse break stride or does it look like he was impeded? But more importantly, ask yourself, where was he when it happened in relation to the winner? And in this particular case, it's about a neck behind. Now, if that happened, and it even at 60-40, the 3 now suddenly resurges and changes that neck to a head or a nose, that's a compelling argument that perhaps the 4 cost him an opportunity. But it looks to me like before the incident, he's about a neck behind. At the incident, he's about a neck behind. And then at the wire, he's about a neck behind. So
right here, he had every chance to go by, Vic, and he was not go by. Now, you could say maybe eventually the 3 was going to go by, but before the contact, as you said so aptly, he wasn't going. He had not gone by. He has all this opportunity right now. In fact, you could argue he lost ground there. Just like he might have lost, a neck right there, just in those last few strides. And okay, there's a little bit into it, but like you said, he's not really regaining anything right here. He's still a neck behind. He's still a neck behind. He's still, okay, maybe a few inches inside of a neck behind.
Yeah,
so,
I would say maybe a couple of inches closer.
That's what you're saying.
The things that in a way I adore about being a steward, but another one, we have to be these prognosticators and handicappers, which in my particular case, I don't mind being because I am, and I was brilliant in that race. You have to say, well, and you said something interesting, Howard. You said, well, do we think he was going to go by him? I'm absolutely convinced that he was never getting by that other horse.
All right. Well, there you go. We bring Chris Walsh back on. Chris, that's the first time you've heard that. Part 2 will be Thursday. Very interesting stuff from Vic Stauffer. Any thoughts on what he said?
For me, Vic's the man. I mean, he explained this stuff very well. I've been in Vic's booth up at Hollywood Park a number of times. Great track announcer, great handicapper, great student of the game. And everything he said makes sense, Howard. And I think we can all agree that in any other jurisdiction, that would have not been a disqualification. In California, they have different rules than they have in many other states. And when you get any type of, slight bumping, you are in the risk of getting disqualified, unfortunately. And I do agree with a lot of people that opined on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, that said, it should be majority decision, a unanimous decision. If it's 2-1, it should let the results stand. And I somewhat agree with that, but I think you've got to figure out rules that are across the board. We all know that if Irad was a regular California jockey, he would get disqualified a lot because of the rules there and whatnot. That's not to say Irad's dirty or anything else. It's just the way the game works in different jurisdictions. So,
well, the reason why I want to do this is to educate, and myself too. I think it's when you hear from an actual steward who's adjudicated these situations 1,000 times, I think it's something that we all can learn from, and we'll hear from Vic Stauffer again on Thursday after our handicapping for part 2. But in the meantime, we have tomorrow, Wednesday, Saratoga pick 6, 132,000 plus in the kitty. Chris, thanks for joining the show tonight. For my good friend and co-host Chris Walsh, This has been your host, Howard Kravitz. Emergency edition of Picks and Ponies. Crush your bets in the Saratoga Pick 6 on Wednesday. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.